okay.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. I was not expecting that.
I was like, I'm watching a movie right now. Like, okay.
Yeah, I feel like for a second there, I thought we were on Steel City Renegades because their intro is like 8 minutes long. So I was like, are we going to make the show? Because we're only doing like an hour tonight. So, well, first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talking About Balls. I am Justin George, joined as always by Kyle Price. Let's get the show shared. I always forget to do that till about halfway through, but since we're only doing an hour, might as well take care of that now. So let's get it. Not a whole lot happened for me the last week. My BS segment's pretty boring. I've just been trying to catch up on shows and movies. You can probably hear it. I've been sick. My daughter, Teddy, got her first cold as of last week. She woke up sick Tuesday, and we thought it might have just been side effects from her flu shot that she got on Monday. And it lingered for days, and we realized it was not from the flu shot. She has an actual cold.
Oh,
so
man.
She's great. I mean, in her defense, you would never guess that she was sick. Besides her runny nose, she acted normal, completely normal. So yeah, other than that, everything's cool. But yeah, I woke up sick on Thursday of last week.
Yeah, you sound very congested.
I am. That's literally all it is. It's just purely a head cold. I feel completely fine. It's just I am stuffed up. So it is what it is. Having a baby, and I have a horrible immune system. Apparently, I'm like Magic Johnson, and I just catch every illness, and that's it. So you got to live with it.
That sucks. Well, hopefully you get better, man. Hopefully you get better soon. It's going around. A lot of stuff going on.
I mean, I feel great, honestly. It's just more so like I feel bad for people around me because they're probably like, oh, he's sick. Like, I don't want him near me. But it's like I feel fine. I haven't missed a day of work. I've been completely fine. But
well, those Germans don't understand days off anyways, so tough shit.
No, not at all. I'm not trying to end up in an oven. So I just, you wake up like a good boy and you go to work.
Get in line and follow the person in front of you, right? Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy, man. I want to take my BS though, because obviously I've been on and off.
You have weeks to catch up on.
I know. I'm not gonna bore everyone because I want to talk some sports before I have to yet again jump in like 30 minutes here. But I mean, obviously went to Vegas. I had a blast. Did some things. I think I had the most fun this year in Vegas than I've had any other time. We did a lot of cool things. We hit the Mob Museum up, which I've been wanting to do for the last 3 years of going. Finally did it. Honestly, recommend it to anybody who goes out there. I'm a huge mob person. I know you are too, Justin. I think you would probably spend 3 or 4 hours in there because there's so much to read and so much to take in. Got to experience the speakeasy bar in the basement. We actually got hustled into an actual speakeasy part of the bar. They moved like a painting on the wall, opened the door to a back room. So we got like private service from the bartender there, which is really awesome. Did the Tiger Woods putt-putt course there. It's called Pop Stroke. Very, very challenging. It's not like your normal backyard putt-putt place. It has like hills and angulations and rough and sand, and it's actually really fucking cool. And you keep your score up on a phone, and it displays it for everyone to see. So, but other than that, obviously golfed, drank way too much. Got back from Vegas just like COVID, so we brought that back with us at least. She wasn't doing so well for about a week. Luckily, I did test positive, but I only had it for like a day or two. I was fine after a day or so. But other than that, I mean, it's just been honestly working. A lot of stuff going on in personal life, a lot of stuff going on in life in general. But enough about that. I kind of miss talking sports, and I miss hanging out with you. So hopefully I was missed a little bit at least. But you, as always, carry the show on. You and George the last couple of weeks have kind of ushered the show through, which is amazing. So.
Yeah, George was a decent, version of Kyle for the picks. Dave, what's up, dude? Thank you for checking in. I always forget to turn the comments on. Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, Dave.
You too, Dave. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Yeah.
So, yeah, this episode is called The Stuffing, and that's not just because of Thanksgiving being tomorrow. It is because of what the Browns defense did to the Pittsburgh Steelers last Thursday.
Perfect timing, Dave.
Steelers. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for checking in, Dave. Sorry to bust your balls here. The Pittsburgh Steelers tried to get a little too fancy against the Cleveland Browns in a fun snow game. We'll talk about all that. But first and foremost, it's talking about buzzballs, ladies and gentlemen. You know the drill. I have a special edition here that I felt like cracking specifically for this win over the Steelers. I have the Biggie Buzzball Pumpkin. My sister found it at Costco or Sam's Club or something, and she picked it up for me. It is huge. If you know me, I have really big hands. Here's my hand up close. It's pretty large. Here's this Buzzball to my hand. Pretty fucking big Buzzball.
So you're gonna drink all of that, like we have to, right? Just
So no, I opened it up for if next time a Cleveland team wins a championship, I am absolutely chugging a Biggie Ball. But
I will call 911 for you.
In a lost season is not worth chugging this giant buzzball in my opinion. So what I did, and yes, it looks like a glass of milk. I have poured it out into a decent sized glass. This is not a shot glass; it's just a regular drinking glass. I assume that's about what a buzzball holds. Ounce wise, so I poured it out because the problem of this buzzball is they have like a weird, like
the little
safety
thing in it. Yeah,
it's got the stopper on it. I didn't realize it would have that, so I poured out a little glass here. So I'll chug that instead of doing a typical cracking of the buzzball, but it's the same effect. You guys know what the drill is. I'm drinking a buzzball. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, raise them up if you've got them. Celebrate
quick. I didn't get a buzzball because today's been crazy, but I've got the old trusty.
It works. We're going a little rogue today.
There we go.
So in honor of the Browns win, not many this season, this might be the last one we see for a very long time, but I'm going to enjoy it because it was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So without further ado, talking about buzzballs. Go Browns, baby. Fuck. That is delicious.
Is it a pumpkin one for real?
Yeah, no, it is. It tastes like pumpkin eggnog almost. I love eggnog. But holy shit, was that good.
You pull a full glass of it over and just kind of sip on it,
Dude, that was so good. They need to make this a permanent. If they made that a permanent flavor, I would drink it every day.
I'm going to have to go to my trusty Arabic gas station and see if they are carrying it as well.
Yeah, get in there soon because the season's changing. They're going to be getting rid of all that kind of shit. But no, that was fantastic. That was like the best buzzball I've ever had. So the Browns do beat the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday night in a fun game that, of course, started green grass, normal game, even playing field for everybody. Browns kind of came out and punched the Steelers in the face a little bit early and did a really good job holding the Steelers' offense because the Steelers came into that game scoring in every quarter for the last 22 straight quarters or something like that. They had scored at least a field goal. And in the first quarter of the game against the Browns, goose egg. So the Browns defense really stepped up at home. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense is really bad. I've watched them a few times this year because they're played locally a lot. I've watched them a few times, and their offense sucks. Whether it's with Justin Fields or whether it's with Russell Wilson, their offense just is not very good, and it's a talent situation. I tried to have a little bit of a decent conversation with Steeler fans on Sunday on Steel City Renegades with Dave and Chipper and all them. And, of course, the Steeler fans got butthurt instantly. Chipper agreed. Dave agreed with most of my takes. I was honest. I said, is there still a missing persons report out for TJ Watt because he was out for that game? And they agreed. They were like, yeah, no, he didn't show up. And then their other new co-host, I forgot his name. My apologies, but he was like getting defensive. And then somebody in the comments was like, well, TJ Watt got double teamed and he can't do anything when he's double teamed, and he's defending him. And I said, dude, Myles Garrett gets double teamed more than any player in the league. I don't want to hear that excuse.
Statistically proven. Like they actually had stats that came out and showed the amount of times he's double teamed, chipped, his pressure, everything. Those numbers are up for him. That's why TJ's numbers are up for the sacks, the tackles, right? And everyone just looks at that.
Because the better talented edge rusher for Pittsburgh is Alex Highsmith. And I've said it a million times, and people think I'm saying it to be a hater, but I'm just being dead serious. When Alex Highsmith doesn't play, TJ Watt's stats decrease tremendously because he cannot create a play on his own like Myles Garrett can. TJ Watt is taking advantage. He is the product of Alex Highsmith drawing a double team because they're more worried about Alex Highsmith. So because Alex Highsmith takes away pressure from TJ Watt, he gets those cleanup sacks. That's why how many sacks does TJ Watt get a year where he literally is untouched because the focus is on Alex Highsmith. So
and when's the last time Myles played with a player of that caliber on the defensive line? Never.
I mean, we got him. Zadarius Smith is literally, and he's past his prime when we got him last year, but Zadarius Smith was the best complement to Myles Garrett we've had since Myles Garrett's been in the NFL. So, I mean, he's a good player, but Zadarius Smith is not some, game-changing defensive end, nor is Obo Okoronkwo. They've tried to get some of these guys, but they really need to address. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. yes, you could use a good draft pick on a really good defensive end and help Myles Garrett, and that would be great, but it's also not needed because Myles Garrett gets his stats. Like, he's about to become the youngest player in NFL history to get 100 sacks. They said he has until December 2025 to get 1.5 more sacks. I think it's 1.5 to get 100 for his career. He'll be the youngest player. And again, he has until a year from now to get 1.5 sacks to be the youngest player.
Yeah. I mean, I like the
shows you
fact
how
that after the game,
confident he's
he came out talking shit after the game. Like, he kind of laid it out there. I think he was just in his feels, I think, but it was well spoken. Like, it runs through me. I am the defensive player of the year, defending defensive player of the year. He goes out and has 3 sacks, 5 tackles, and like you said in your post,
strip sack. Yeah.
TJ Watt had 7 handshakes and some high fives out there. That's pretty much about it.
I loved that meme. That was one of the funniest fucking things. It showed the stat line. For those of you that didn't see it, there was a meme out there that showed a head-to-head comparison stat of TJ Watt and Myles Garrett from the game on Thursday, and it said Myles Garrett, 7 tackles, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and TJ Watt, 7 high fives, 5 snow angels, or something like that. Like, they were just roasting him because he didn't do shit.
Snow angels and some hugs and stuff like that. It's pretty much all he got. Yeah.
And those snow angels weren't because he was doing it for fun. It's because he got fucking pancaked. That one play, the touchdown that Jameis ran into the end zone. I don't know if you've seen the highlights of it, but Jack Conklin fucking destroys TJ Watt. George, if you could.
Oh, I did. I saw him hook around and just pushed him, and with the snow, he went flying.
Dude, he went like 5 yards in the air. I love watching it. It's so great. And side note, what the fuck are the Cavs doing?
Are they losing?
No, but they were up 35-14 a second ago, and I just got an alert the first quarter ended. It's 35-35.
Well, I mean, I have them on. I've been doing like these slow burn bets, like ladder bets, and I have them right now to win. I need them to win to carry this slow burn bet today. So they better not fuck around and find out. Especially
I'm confident in them beating the Hawks, but it's more so just alarming of, okay, why did they let them go on a fucking 20-0 run or 21-0? Because I swear to God, it was 35-14. I set my phone down because I was like, okay, they're going to blow them out. And then I get an alert that goes first quarter ended 35-35. And I was like, wait a minute, is that a typo?
You know, the Cavs, they come out slow a little bit. They're warming up. They'll be all right.
Yeah, I don't love that, though. I don't love a 20-point swing like that. Can't have that. Only the Cavs are supposed to do that when they have a Cavalanche. But yeah, huge win for the Browns just in terms of talking shit to Steeler fans, in terms of proving that they're fraudulent with 8 wins, proving that the Browns are the superior team head-to-head. The Browns have now won 2 out of the last 3 games against Pittsburgh. I mean, that's bragging rights right there, in my opinion. This team is much...
the last 2 years or 3 years against Pittsburgh is amazing.
And this team's much better than the Pittsburgh Steelers of last year. Like, Pittsburgh last year had Kenny Pickett, who was a fucking stiff. I think everybody can agree with that. I told everybody when they drafted him he was a bum, and he was their starting quarterback. Now they have Russell Wilson, who's probably a Hall of Famer, and obviously he's a little past his prime, but he's a Hall of Famer. And then Mike Tomlin's trying to get cute with Arthur Smith, and they're bringing in Justin Fields on 4th down packages. And I swear, I brought up a lot of questions to the Steel City guys, and they kind of deflected. I want your thoughts on it. So I saw, or maybe I heard it, I don't remember. It might have been on the radio. It might have been on Twitter. I don't remember. But I saw that Russell Wilson's kind of pissed. He doesn't like this. I get pulled on 4th and shorts for Justin Fields.
Right.
He's a little upset about that. So I asked the Pittsburgh guys, and I'm like, do you think this is rubbing the guys the wrong way? Because they're talking about the future, and they're like, oh, well, next year we'll probably bring Fields back, and we'll do this and do that. And I said, well, what if those guys don't want to come back? Because they're like, fuck you. I was here for all year, and you guys didn't know what you were doing. We were going back and forth. I started for 4 games. He came in, and then he was okay. And then you're putting me in on 4th down. Like, this quarterback by committee is not a good situation. No. So it makes me wonder, what's the future going to hold for Pittsburgh? Because their creme de la creme is the defense. Their defense is what keeps them in games because their offense is trash. They've won a couple games this year so far by not scoring a touchdown. That's unheard of in today's NFL, but their defense has done a good enough job to keep them in it. Say again, I'm sorry?
I said it's Pittsburgh's luck, though. I mean, that's the kind of games that they win, right? They never dominate a game from start to finish. It's always a last-minute drive, or maybe their defense comes up with a big stop or interception or pick six. It's never that they dominate a game from start to finish, and that's most of their games this season.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what's kept them in it. I mean, even the Browns tried to give it away. Late in the 4th quarter, Jameis Winston has the ball, gets strip sacked. Pittsburgh gets the ball, boom. All of a sudden, the Browns are losing because of that. And it's like, all right, that's how they do it. Their defense keeps them in the game. Their defense steps up in the 4th quarter, makes a big play, boom. And then the Browns ended up answering back and winning the game with a Nick Chubb touchdown, which was so great. What a great feeling to see Nick Chubb get 2 touchdowns, to run all over the Pittsburgh defense, to solidify a win, to cement a W against the team that destroyed his knee last year, who, by the way, Minkah Fitzpatrick, unless I missed it, did he not play? Because I didn't hear his name at all.
I don't think he was in the game. I didn't see his number anywhere on the field.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I truly wasn't sure. Between him and TJ Watt, those were 2 names that I did not hear on Thursday night. So I just assumed that they were both inactive.
But to go back to your point, just my opinion, they're both on a 1-year contract. I see them signing Russell for maybe a 2-year deal. Fields isn't coming back. I think he's going to make the choice, like, I don't need to be here. And I think they signed him for 2 years. But the thing is, they're going to be in quarterback hell here shortly because they're still going to need to draft a quarterback. Because he's only going to be a temporary Band-Aid fix. Russell's going to probably retire
he's
in a year
in
or
his
two.
mid to upper 30s, if I'm not mistaken.
Like he's retire in a year or two. He's got maybe 2 good years in him, maybe two half years in him, meaning a half percentage of what he's capable of being because he's getting
his
old.
His play has regressed.
Yeah, and so that's it. So you're gonna be back in quarterback hell. I got a quarterback. We'll trade you. He's number 4. We'll give him a deal, pay half his contract, and we'll give it to you. I'm
sure they would listen to that. So yeah, what a win for the Browns. It was really cool to see them win on Thursday night in prime time. I mean, just something great about beating the Steelers. I know Kyle and I were both down in the dumps last week. I took the Steelers. Kyle took the Steelers. I even took the Steelers minus 3.5. I didn't understand why Vegas had that. I was like, this Browns team sucks. Yeah. Pittsburgh's 8-2. Browns are fucking 2-8. I'm like, there's no way the Browns will win this game. And then sure enough, they come out and win. I love seeing the
game to watch on TV though. The snow game was amazing.
So great to sit on my couch in my warm den. Being there, fuck that. I still completely 150% want a dome. There were people that were like, the next day they were like, last night should make all the Browns fans wish that they weren't getting a dome. And I'm like, no, it really just made me want one even more.
All the people saying that were the people sitting at home.
Oh shit, Minkah did play.
Oh, he did play. Okay, well, that wouldn't matter.
3 tackles, walkout 1. Yeah, I mean, hey, congratulations for being completely irrelevant for the guys that Steeler fans are willing to fight tooth and nail over being, the greatest in the NFL. But yeah, I got into a little bit of an argument with people and just told them, basically, Steeler fans, I said, you guys are a bunch of whiny bitches, and you guys can't accept any criticism and talk normally about your football team. You can't have honest discussions. They're so diehard obsessed with TJ Watt. Yeah. It's crazy.
Catch that episode. I should have watched it, but no, that's funny. That is the guy with the beard. The guy with the beard that you got into.
No, so it wasn't really him. He talked a little bit of shit because Dave would read my comments, and that guy doesn't know me, so he doesn't know that I'm being a dickhead. So he would be like, "Oh, what the fuck that guy." He would get all upset. Then there was somebody in the comments that was like the defending TJ Watt. Like TJ Watt got double teamed, and I was like, yeah, Miles gets double teamed more than TJ Watt by a mile. I said, and he still shows up in games and puts up numbers. So that excuse is garbage, and the guy just got defensive. So, it is what it is. I'm happy to rub it in their face. We won. They can't say shit about it. The one funny thing, though, is that the Browns suck. Let's be honest. The Browns are a bad team, and Pittsburgh fans are already going, well, we play them again in 2 weeks, and the Pittsburgh better dominate that game and show them this and that. It's like, dude, you're playing a 3-win team in 2 weeks, more than likely, because spoiler alert, I'm not taking the Browns to win on Monday night against Denver. So you're playing a 3-win team that just beat you in the snow in Cleveland, and you're like, that's a must-win. You got to dominate against them. Like, the Browns suck. You should have dominated on Thursday. So the fact that you need that to be your quote-unquote mid-season Super Bowl is funny to me, how the tables have turned. Beating the Browns is now the biggest game of the season for them, where back in the day, beating the Steelers for the Browns is like, hey, we only won 3 games this year, but one of them was against Pittsburgh. I'm happy about it.
And our team has really nothing to lose, so them beating the Steelers,
just draft position.
For them, it's just going to be beating the Steelers, which is fun for them, right?
100%. I look at it as every loss you're giving these for the rest of the Browns schedule. It's tough. We're playing basically all playoff contenders.
Yeah.
So every win you can get is great to help that team miss the playoffs and fuck up their seeding, which is cool. But it's also fucking up your draft positioning. So right now, the Denver Broncos are a playoff team. I think they're like the 6th seed if the playoffs started today. They're a wild card team. Beating them would be cool. Monday Night Football, I'd obviously love to see the Browns come out and win. But at the same time, I'd rather have the draft pick. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, to be honest. I'm obviously always going to root for the Browns, and I'm not going to be mad if they win. I'm also not too stoked on any of the quarterbacks coming out in this year's class. We'll talk about that in the offseason, but I don't think Shedeur Sanders, A, would come to Cleveland. I think they're going to be super diva about the whole thing, and I don't want anything to do with that nightmare. I also don't think he's that good. I don't think he's a franchise-changing quarterback. Same with Cam Ward. Cam Ward out of Miami looks like he's got a lot of work to do. He looks like he could be fun to watch, but he also looks like he makes a ton of mistakes and struggles at times. Same with Jalen Milroe. Quinn Ewers, I'm not a huge fan of. I'm not a fan of the kid from Georgia. I forgot his name off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't want any of them. I think
George, help me out. I forgot his name. I know George can Google it really quick. Carson Beck. Got it. Never mind, George.
We need to worry about other positions. Don't worry about a quarterback this year. Go after a quarterback next year or the year after. Because, I think the class is coming up. Some of these kids who are going to be eligible next year are worth going after instead of going after these guys.
Hear me out. I know it's going to sound crazy. I think Jameis Winston could be our starting quarterback next year. I'm comfortable with that.
I completely agree, and I've had this conversation with a couple people in the last week. You live and die by Jameis's head case. He's a head case, right? Let's just be honest. Good quarterback, but also a head case sometimes, right? But
I hate his pregame interviews. Those irritate me because I'm
absolutely. He's one of the most entertaining interviews I've ever seen.
Should he be starting tonight or should he be in a hospital?
I think he should be mic'd up every game, and we should have a direct link to his mic, his conversation. But no, I think Jameis can get us through the next 2 years. He's a number one pick in the draft overall. Clearly, he's got the talent. He's done it before. He's produced massively in the NFL. So ride his coattails, build a team around him, draft a quarterback in 2 or 3 years or 2 years, and bring him in underneath and let Jameis play out a contract, extend him, and let's ride the pony and build the other parts of the team up that we need to. Spend a first-round pick on defense or an offensive lineman, for God's sake, right? So, and let's just go from there.
Yeah, that's how I look at it too. I'm looking at it in the same way as I don't like any of the quarterbacks coming out. If you want to take a guy late, if you can get Jalen Milroe in the second round, because I don't think he's good enough to be a first round pick, some team will probably take him. But if he slides to the second round and you can take him, by all means, take him. But if you can keep Jameis Winston on a 2-3 year contract just to come in here and be your veteran quarterback, because I don't think Deshaun Watson ever sees the field again. No. I just don't. No. And that's, rightfully so. It is what it is. They tried, they failed, move on. So I think you could try to keep Jameis, but you need a veteran quarterback. I know we'll talk about it, but Daniel Jones got released by the New York Giants. He's a guy that a lot of people make jokes about, but he's a guy who I think he's looked good at times. He was a first-round pick. I don't think he's that great per se, but with Kevin Stefanski coaching him, who knows what he can be. He's now going to be in
Minnesota, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he went to Minnesota. He signed with their practice squad. He's going to learn from Kevin O'Connell, who is also a quarterback guru. Look at what Kevin O'Connell's doing with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was a has-been, a guy who was bouncing around from team to team to be a backup, goes to Minnesota to battle for the starting position with J.J. McCarthy. McCarthy gets hurt, and Darnold comes in, and Darnold at one point had MVP-type numbers. He has since come back to reality, and his MVP conversation is done. But the Vikings are 8-2. So he may not be playing like a stud, but they're winning games, and that's what Kevin Stefanski does with quarterbacks.
They're by default winning games with Sam Darnold at quarterback, right? Just that's crazy to think, but
it's so similar to last year to the Browns. The Browns were able to plug in PJ Walker, DTR, Joe Flacco. They just win games because it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. As long as you do enough to keep us in the game, we can win those games. So I think with Kevin Stefanski, I think a Daniel Jones, I think a Jameis Winston could easily make you a playoff contender. But I do think you do need to focus on the future, and eventually you need to get that franchise quarterback, which would come in the draft. So, if you wait till next year where I think it's a better quarterback class, that's what you do. You take your quarterback, you let him sit for a year. You go old school. They don't do it anymore in the NFL. Nowadays, it's you're drafted, you start. So if you can get
go after that Manning kid down in Texas. I would love to have him here.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different options coming out in a couple of years. So we'll see what the Browns do. A lot of shakeup going to happen. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, if the Browns end up ending the season 3-14, which is very possible because I don't see another win on the schedule for the rest of the year. Stefanski, I don't think should be fired. I don't think Andrew Berry should be fired. I said it last week. The only person that should go is Paul DePodesta. Just don't retain his contract. Bring somebody else in to be the head of whatever he's in charge of, and you go from there. But I like the core that we have in place. I think if you let Kevin Stefanski finally pick his quarterback. I don't think Deshaun Watson was a guy Kevin Stefanski wanted. That was a guy that the ownership and Paul DePodesta wanted. So Kevin Stefanski has had nothing but success with everybody but Deshaun Watson. Let this guy finally handpick his own quarterback, and I think the Browns could legitimately be a contender.
Agree. Completely agree.
So great to get that W over the Steelers. What time do you have to hop off, Kyle?
In like 3 minutes here.
All right, so we'll do a quick recap of week. Did you send in your picks by chance?
I'm gonna text you while I'm in the Uber. I'll send you the text.
Okay, I'll have George read them off because I was just thinking about that. We'll do a recap of last week, and then
no, I thought I was 3 down, not 4 down.
No, yeah, you have 115. Or I'm sorry, that's old. That's last week. There it is. Yeah,
there we go. Look at that. Don't call it a comeback, but here I come.
He's getting there. All right. So, yeah, we're going to do a quick recap of last week, and Kyle did get a 1-game advantage. Kyle went 10-3. I went 9-4, so Kyle gained a game. He's making a comeback. So we're going to recap last week. Kyle's going to bounce and go get in his Uber. He's heading out for the night. So, Kyle, be safe. Have a great night. If you want to sit down on the recap, you can. If not, if you want to get that stuff.
I'm going to go stand outside and wait for it pulling up here in a couple minutes. So okay. I will text you my picks. George, you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Justin, love you, man. Have a great Thanksgiving. Give Tara and the baby a kiss for me, okay?
Will do, man. Be safe. Have a great night. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
Later, guys.
See you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, Jess. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right. Bye, guys.
See you guys. Win 19-24. There he is. I thought George kicked me off for a second. Browns win Thursday night 24-19. I read that backwards. I hate when I do that, but shit happens. On Sunday, it goes to overtime. Kansas City and the Carolina Panthers. Ever since Bryce Young has been benched, he's come back playing a little bit better. Still not a franchise quarterback in my opinion, but he is not the bust that we thought he once was. Speaking of busts, Caleb Williams struggling, getting better. Struggling, getting better. He's a kind of Jekyll and Hyde, but it's early in his career, so I'll let it slide. 30-27, the Minnesota Vikings almost have one of the biggest collapses in NFL history by blowing an 11-point lead with less than a minute to go against the Chicago Bears. That game was in the bag. Next thing you know, we're heading to overtime. Couldn't believe it. Tennessee upsets the Houston Texans 32-27. CJ Stroud, I love him, Ohio State product. He pulls a Dan Orlovsky and goes out of the back of the end zone for a safety to lose the game for the Texans. Ugly, ugly, ugly game. Cost me a lot of money because I had the Texans on money line bets in multiple parlays because I thought that was a fucking lock. So that was a bummer. That one stung. The Detroit Lions beat the absolute hell out of the Indianapolis Colts 24-6. That game was never close. Speaking of never close, Miami Dolphins win 34-15 over the New England Patriots. Tampa Bay, another blowout, 30-7 over Tommy Cutlets, who is probably not going to be playing tomorrow on Thanksgiving. It's going to be Drew Lock starting for the New York Giants. The Dallas Cowboys have some special teams touchdowns that are able to pull an upset against the Washington Commanders, 34-26. Who saw that coming? I did not. Denver Broncos beat up on the Las Vegas Raiders, 29-19. Everybody saw that one coming. Gardner Minshew breaks his collarbone. He is out for the year. It is the Aiden O'Connell show for at least until he gets hurt. Green Bay beats the absolute hell out of the Purdy-less San Francisco 49ers 38-10. The Niners are struggling, and their playoff window is closing. Their Super Bowl window is also rapidly closing because they have a lot of high contracts they can't keep for a long time, and they're having a very, very, very bad year. The Arizona Cardinals could not handle the pressure of being in first place in the NFC West. They fall to the Seattle Seahawks 16-6. They struggle after their bye week. And the Philadelphia Eagles win 37-20 against the Los Angeles Rams. Saquon Barkley had more yards in the last 2 weeks than the New York Jets and the Jacksonville Jaguars have had as a whole. Shows you how dominant he is. I saw that. My buddies are Jets fans, so as soon as I saw that one, I sent it to them immediately to rub it in their face that Saquon Barkley has gotten more yards than the Jets as an entire team for the last 2 weeks. And the Baltimore Ravens win 30-23 on Monday Night Football in a really good game. Both of the primetime games last week, I should say all three, because the Browns, I'll count that Thursday. All three primetime games were absolutely fantastic. So good stuff there. As you can see on the bottom, there were a lot of bye weeks. Happy that those bye weeks are almost done. We're getting there, and we'll be. Week. Yeah, no, we're getting there though. Getting there. Yep. So that was the week that was for the NFL, and as we showed the picks earlier, Kyle is inching back. Kyle is going to be messaging us his picks here shortly, so George can get on with that. As I mentioned earlier, the New York Giants have released Danny Dimes. He went through waivers. Nobody claimed him. Not surprising. As a free agent, he was able to pick and choose whoever he wanted to sign with. He opted to sign with the Minnesota Vikings. He said his goal was to sign with a playoff team and hopefully give them a chance to win if needed. And he's going to the Vikings, where I think he could be used in some weird fourth down packages because he's mobile. Sam Darnold is not. So there are some opportunities for him to see the field in Minnesota. I also think it's more so just a good learning experience from him. He's now going to have a year of sitting, and not a year, but the rest of the season, he gets to sit on a good team. They're going to the playoffs. It's almost inevitable that the Minnesota Vikings are making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So he's going to get to see some playoff experience. He's going to learn from Kevin O'Connell. He's with the Vikings. Good situation next year. He'll probably have his pick of teams. There were some reports that came out that said there were multiple teams inquiring about bringing him, and he ended up picking the Vikings. So more power to him. But I am dead serious when I say that I could 100% see the Browns taking a flyer on him next year, because the Browns are good at bringing in veteran quarterbacks like that. I got Kyle's picks here. Let me copy and paste that.
Message him too. Okay.
Yeah, he just texted me. I thought he was going to send it in the group text. Any spread picks, because we do the spreads. He didn't send me that last week.
I'll let you do that, and I'll flip to the
yeah, we'll get into picks. This episode does not necessarily have to be an hour. As you can hear, I'm still not feeling the greatest. So the earlier we end it, the earlier I can go lay down and watch a movie.
Right.
So I'm messaging you the picks right now, George, and we are going to do it live.
Got him.
All right, perfect. So we are going to go off of Kyle's picks in order. And of course, tomorrow, Thanksgiving, a day to be thankful. And I am thankful for there being 3 football games on. I just wish the one in the middle were a little bit better, but I almost feel like the NFL did that on purpose. The NFL was like, you know what, guys, you're going to be so full of turkey and stuffing and gravy. You're going to be tired. You're going to need a little midday nap. What better game to put on than the Giants and the Cowboys when you just want to close your eyes and not watch football? That's a perfect game. The NFL did it so wisely. So without further ado, let's get into our picks. George is, of course, filling in for Kyle, and Kyle has cut the lead down to 3 games only. So this is getting serious now. It's time for me to really, step my game up, do a little research. I truly don't look at the schedule in advance. I look at it on the show, and I pick on the fly. So that shows you how much I've put into it. But I'll take a 127-65 record.
He says he's getting into your head now. He says you're getting a little nervous.
I'm really not. I never really paid attention. It was just blind luck in the beginning, and now he's just catching up. So I'm ready. I'm ready to pull away again, George. I had to make it close for the audience. I don't want the audience to
right.
I don't want them to be like, this isn't fun. I don't need to watch this segment anymore because Justin's running away with it. So now I let him come back, give him a little false hope. It's the rope-a-dope. I'm Muhammad Ali. I'm making him think he's got a chance. And then, so I just got Kyle's pick. I will send it to you, George, for his spread. I won't spoil it here on the show. I'm going to text it or message it to you, George.
Well, while you're going through that, you're doing that. Of course, the first game up, as we always know, it's at the Lions, and this year it is Chicago at Detroit.
And this one is safe to say it's a sweep for everybody.
Yeah. And it will be the first time that the Lions have won on Thanksgiving since 2018.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. They have to actually win first. I remember last year I bet on the Lions to beat the Packers, and Jordan Love went out there and threw like 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, and they beat the hell out of the Lions.
Okay. All right. All right.
Easier things have happened is all I'm saying.
Well, Detroit is literally just...
Oh, they're crushing everybody. I mean, they're the best team in football by a country mile. It's not even close. The one thing, though, is, I mean...
Channel flipping, too, all day long.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say for the Lions, though, is they haven't faced a really good opponent in quite some time. They've been facing some average teams. I mean, the Colts, they beat up a really bad Cowboys team a couple weeks ago. They've beaten up on some teams where you're like, okay, I'm not super impressed by their wins yet. Don't get me wrong. Their record speaks for itself. I think they are a legitimate Super Bowl contender. But quality wins, haven't seen them yet.
Yep.
In my opinion. So next up, of course, we have the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. I'll let George start off with Kyle's pick and possibly a spread.
Yep. Kyle's got Dallas, and he's taken that spread at Dallas with minus the 3.5 there. Drew Lock being with the Giant, it's like, well, you get the 3 point. Usually everybody says it's the 3 points for the home field advantage. So if you're really looking at it as half a point, it, like you said already, this is the time where everybody gets to take their little nap. And then, most people will be just traveling back home during the third game.
Yeah, this is exactly like the perfect timing. Get home, get myself situated, get some leftovers ready, and then I can sit down and watch two real football teams play at night. But for the midday, couldn't care less. Even if Dak Prescott were healthy, this is still a shitty game. So it doesn't matter. This is not a fun one. If I watch a minute of it, I'll be impressed by that. I'll truly, this is one where I won't even want to be by the TV. So we'll see what happens with it. But I, too, am going to take the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not confident in this pick, I'll be honest, because of Drew Lock. But because I haven't seen Drew Lock play in years, I haven't seen him play with this team, I can't pick him. I have, however, seen Cooper Rush, and I've seen this Cowboys team without Dak. It's not good, but they have more playmakers. I'll take CeeDee Lamb. I'll take, Brandon Cooks is coming back, I think. They've got a better defense with Micah Parsons. Yeah, I like that. I'm just going straight roster. You're at home. National television, Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy both realize you can't lose this game on the biggest scale, or there's a chance Mike McCarthy does get fired in the middle of the season, even though Jerry Jones says he wouldn't do that. This could be a situation where he changes his mind if the Cowboys lose. In that case, I don't think they will. So
it depends on what Jerry's drinking tomorrow.
Exactly. If he's drinking that holiday punch, you never know. Mike McCarthy could be unemployed come Black Friday, but We'll see. Then we get to Thursday night football on NBC, and you've got the Green Bay Packers going to the Miami Dolphins. Miami is trying their best now that Tua is back to make a comeback in the standings to make themselves a playoff contender. Green Bay, on the other hand, don't look now. They're actually one of the better teams in football. I believe they're 8-3. They are dominating in some games. They have figured out how to use Josh Jacobs. They finally have a running game. Jordan Love has been playing very well, and their defense has been fantastic. With that being said, they're in a nice – it's going to be warm down in Miami, so they don't have to worry about weather. I think this is just a battle of two good teams. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers.
See, Kyle did too.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah,
I honestly, God, I didn't read his picks. I copied, I pasted, I sent it to you. So,
yep, he did too. But boy, I like the Dolphins at home in that matchup. It's going to be a good game, though.
Something about Mike McDaniel rubs me the wrong way. I think he's a little too cocky for the little success he's had there. So for me, I really just look against them. And I just think Matt LaFleur has that Packers team very focused, and they're not fucking around. They just go out there, they take care of business. Again, Josh Jacobs last week, 100+ yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm just like, you know what? They look like a legitimate team, and until the Packers make me think that otherwise, I'm going to keep picking them. So
I'm just glad it's not streaming.
Yeah, no, this isn't. I mean, I have Peacock, so if that were the case, it is what it is. I purposely got it for that Brazil game in the first week of the season for the Eagles and the Packers. So I'm prepared. No matter what streaming service a game is on, I have it. I have Prime. I've got Peacock. If they want to throw it on Paramount Plus, I've got that. Hell, if they want to put it on Disney Plus, I've got that as well. So I'm ready to roll.
So you're ready for Friday's game then?
100%. Amazon Prime, Friday football. You've got the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Los Angeles Raiders. I still call them Oakland. I think I'm not even looking at Kyle's pick. I think it's safe to say we're going to have a clean sweep here of Kansas City because I don't think anybody's losing to the Raiders again this season.
Nope.
And if you saw it, it was
on over to Sunday.
They had an interview with Antonio Pierce today about the game, and they said, what are your thoughts? And he goes, well, you've got the best team in football playing the worst team in football on Friday. He called his own team the worst team in football.
Wow.
When you're a first-year head coach. So he's kind of talking himself out of the locker room there. I love it as a guy who openly hates on the Raiders because I have a friend that likes them, and they beat us this year, so fuck them. I love it. So it's funny. It's more ammo to talk a little shit about. So thank you, Antonio Pierce, for the soundbite.
Right. Next
up, we get to Sunday. We're going to take a little break on Saturday. Of course, Saturday, though, we'll mix it in here, is the game, whatever they call it. I've said it a million times. I when it comes to college football, I watch for scouting purposes only. I don't really have a favorite team. I like Ohio State, but I'm not a diehard Buckeyes guy. So I've watched them lose to Michigan the last few years. I've watched them lose in the playoffs. I've watched them lose to Georgia. Those games were like, oh, shit, that sucks. They lost. But my day goes on. I'm not a guy that's like dwelling over it. So Saturday, the Buckeyes should win easily. I expect them to win by multiple touchdowns. Michigan's a very bad team. Ohio State should dominate this game and get themselves into the Big Ten championship. And I'm sure we'll recap that game next week because there are going to be some very sour Michigan fans that, just for shits and giggles, I'll rub it in their face because they were a little extra cocky after winning that fake championship they got last year. That, obviously it was completely, in my opinion, littered with all of those scandals to get that championship. Though the fact that Harbaugh knew that they were cheating, skipped town as soon as he won, shows to me that it's a fraudulent championship. But it is what it is. I digress. We'll talk about that another time. So that's on Saturday. But now we get to Sunday, 1 o'clock. We have the Chargers and the Atlanta Falcons. I will go first. I am taking the Los Angeles Chargers. They have one of the best defenses in football. I truly think that they are a good up-and-coming team. I am taking the Chargers, and I'm taking them, according to ESPN, they have them at -1.5. Give me the Chargers, -1.5.
Wow, really? Only 1.5? Ooh.
Yeah, road favorites in Atlanta. Something about Atlanta just is not. Kirk Cousins has played well. The Falcons have played okay at times. I had them as kind of a sleeper pick, but at the same time, I don't think they're good enough to keep up with the Chargers. The Chargers just seem a little too good.
Yeah, Kyle agrees with you. Hopefully, J.K. Dobbins will have his little injury mended up by then too, so that he gets.
No, he's expected to miss a few weeks.
Is he?
Yeah, they already came out and said that he sprained his MCL, so he's expected to miss a few weeks.
Well, Gus Edwards, get ready to rock and roll.
Yeah,
Next man up.
I feel like their offense is built to where whoever they plug in is going to be just fine. As long as Quentin Johnston can actually catch a football, they're in good shape. Next up, we go to Cincinnati, where the Bengals are looking to play spoiler and possibly give the Steelers a little 2-game losing streak, which would be fantastic. I do think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are two of the best offensive players in football. The record doesn't reflect that, but I think when you're teaming up a team that has a bad offense against a bad defense, with the Steelers' offense being shitty and the Bengals' defense being shitty, against a really good offense against a pretty good defense, I got to go with the team that has a little bit better talent, and that's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. Give me the Bengals winning at home here.
Kyle went opposite of you.
Did he? Okay.
Yep. He's jumping with the Steelers. So
right,
there's one
difference right there so far.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we have the Texans taking on the Jags. I'm safe to say I'm guessing Kyle's going with Houston, as am I.
Yep.
Even though C.J. Stroud had an embarrassing loss last week, I don't think it'll be enough
I think
to tear us.
He's going to be really ticked off about last week. And
I think so too. So
no more playing around.
Texans by a country mile. Next up, we have the Cardinals coming in against the Vikings. Cardinals have been such a weird team this year. They're really good one week, then they're really bad the next week. They're coming off a complete stinker, which makes me think, is this a week they figure it out? I don't know. At this point, I'm going to go with the more consistent team, especially at home. Give me the Minnesota Vikings.
Kyle agrees. He went with the Vikings too.
Okay. And then next up, we have the Colts taking on the New England Patriots. The Colts they're a mess. They went with the starting Anthony Richardson, benching him, going back to him. It hasn't helped. I mean, they scored 6 points last week against the Lions, who are a very good team. The New England Patriots have brought in Drake May. Drake May's played decent, but the rest of the team is pretty bad. So they really stink. I can't. This is a really bad team. A really bad game in terms of just both teams. This is one that I wouldn't want to watch, even if there was the only thing on television. But with that being said, somebody's got to come away a winner. Give me the Colts.
That's who Kyle went with too.
Not happy about the pick, but I don't have any faith in the Patriots. And I said last week,
Drake May has been doing pretty solid for me fantasy wise. He's been improving nicely every week. I'm like, all right.
No, he's not making mistakes. He gets some good rushing yards. He makes some decent plays here and there. But overall, as a team, the Patriots are garbage. So until they prove that they can win a game, I can't pick them. Speaking of teams that prove they can't win games, the New York Football Jets, they are a dumpster fire. There were stories coming out this week that Aaron Rodgers wants to play again next year, but he does not want to play with the Jets. And then he had to come out and say, no, I never said that. I never said that. It's a fucking mess in New York. I love every second of it. They have fired everybody. They're going to be cleaning house in the offseason, which means more than likely the 40-plus-year-old ayahuasca-addicted quarterback is not going to be welcome into the facility by the new front office. So Aaron Rodgers will be looking for a new home next year, and it could be with a shitty team or it could be in a darkness retreat. We will wait and see how that plays out. But for the time being, they are a dumpster fire. Even coming off a bye week, I don't think helps them. Give me the Seattle Seahawks on the road.
Yeah, Kyle picked Seattle too. It's funny you mentioned about dark places. Wouldn't it be hilarious if he ended over at the Raiders? That would.
And there were the rumors 2 years ago that he would end up there. And I mean, as of right now, I don't see it happening because they don't have Devontae Adams anymore. So the fact that he's gone, their team sucks. I don't think Rodgers is going to have his pick of teams if he really wants to.
Right.
I mean, just looking at the screen right now, so we've got what's a team that could use a quarterback that's not that bad? I would probably go with
Jacksonville.
No, Jacksonville's not going to move on from Trevor Lawrence. They just gave him that huge contract. They're stuck with him. I would say Tennessee. They're a decent team. And another year, better draft picks. You could plug in Aaron Rodgers into that offense. Their defense has actually played really, really well. I mean, shit, that's really it. There's no other teams that could. I mean, does he?
Or he goes to San Francisco.
Does he end up in Pittsburgh? Like the rumors were going around last year.
Well,
he went to.
He was thinking, that the 49ers were going to draft him. How ironic would it be that he would finish his career with San Francisco?
The only thing is, I don't think the Niners would bench Purdy. They have a quarterback already, so unless they plan on cutting Purdy, Rodgers isn't going there to be the backup, and Purdy, I don't think they wouldn't bench Purdy. I don't think. Carolina's a complete shit show.
Jed York. It's Jed York. Yeah,
true. Very true. Yeah, just looking at the teams here. So really quickly, I'll run through them. Caleb Williams, obviously not going anywhere for the Bears. Jared Goff for the Lions, not going anywhere. New York needs a quarterback. However, I don't think he goes to the Giants because they're garbage. Cowboys have Dak on a huge contract. He's not going anywhere. Jordan Love is not going anywhere. Tua is not going anywhere. Raiders need a quarterback, but they're completely garbage. Kansas City, obviously. Chargers are good. Falcons are good. Steelers would be the one team that if they let Wilson and Fields go, they could be looking for a quarterback. Obviously, the Bengals not. Jacksonville, no. Houston, no. Arizona, no. Minnesota, no, because they have McCarthy coming back.
Yep.
Colts, maybe.
Maybe
they move on from Richardson because they realize he's shit. That's possible. Patriots, no. Seahawks, no. Jets, obviously, he'd be leaving them. Washington, no. Titans are the one team. Yeah, they could use one. Tampa, no. Carolina, yes, but they suck, so I don't think he'd go there. Rams, no. Saints, maybe, if they move on from Derek Carr. Possible. Eagles, no. Ravens, no. Niners, in my opinion, no. Buffalo, no. Browns, yes, but I don't think we would go after Aaron Rodgers. And Denver, no. So he's really got limited options next year.
Well, actually, the Seattle one, Geno's on an avoidable year. So Seattle.
But I think he's played well enough to where they would keep him. I don't think they're going to move on from Geno to bring in Rodgers. They don't have a good enough team. Basically, Rodgers needs to go to a team that's trying to win now because he's only got 1 or 2 years left at most, and he's not even. I don't even think he's got that. So that's why
they got the running backs, they got the tight end, they got 4 wide receivers. They're actually in pretty good shape.
Yeah, but I don't think they're not Super Bowl competitive yet. They have some decent pieces. I just don't think it's enough to push the envelope.
Okay.
In my opinion, DK Metcalf. I mean, he's kind of a hit or miss kind of player. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Next up, the Titans and Commanders.
Titans and Commanders. Give me the Commanders. I think they bounce back from that ugly game on Sunday against the Cowboys. I'm going with Washington.
Yep. So is Kyle.
Okay.
And this is kind of ironic. It's like nobody's got a bye this week. Everybody's playing.
No, I didn't realize that. Yeah, everyone's back. Bye weeks are done.
Everybody plays. We got one more week. Next week, there's a bye weeks.
Okay, so they're skipping it for Thanksgiving, which makes sense because they're playing 3 extra day. They're playing 3 Thursday games, an extra Friday game. Yeah, so that makes sense. Then we go to the evening games on Sunday. You've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Carolina Panthers. I'm taking Tampa Bay.
Yep, Kyle is too. Then next up, you got the Rams at the Saints, which could be a no defense, all offense, start all the fantasy guys. Have fun.
Yeah, which I'm okay with that. This is a tough one. I don't know.
Me too. me too. Personally, I'm like, man,
These are two teams that any week look completely different. You don't know what to expect out of them. So with the Rams coming off of a short week, well, they played Sunday night, so I guess it's not a short week. Give me the Rams. I don't know. I don't trust the Saints. They have a interim head coach. I guess I'll just go with the better veteran in Matt Stafford and the veteran head coach in Sean McVay. I guess I'm going with the Rams.
Yeah, Kyle is
pick.
too. Me personally, I would be taking the Saints, especially after they had a bye week, so everybody's very well rested. Rock and roll.
I just can't do it. I don't trust the Saints.
So
Next up, you got a battle of the birds.
Bird Bowl.
The Eagles have shockingly been very good, and the Ravens also have obviously been pretty good. This is a very tight game. For me, in my opinion, this is an even matched game. And in an evenly matched game, I typically just go with the home team strictly because of that advantage that you have playing at home. Give me the Ravens.
And Kyle says the Ravens too. I will go Eagles though.
Okay. I could 100% see that. Again, this is a coin flip kind of game in my opinion, but in a coin flip situation, I just go with the home team by default. Sunday night football, we have the Niners against the Buffalo Bills. I think the Buffalo Bills, I said it in the beginning of the season that I think I early predicted Josh Allen to be the MVP. I thought Buffalo would be good and could potentially make it to the Super Bowl this year. So, with that being said, I'm not changing my stance. I am going with the Buffalo Bills to win on Sunday night, especially against a very, very banged up 49ers team.
Yeah, same here. It's a sweep. It's unfortunate that San Francisco needs the bye week now, not next week.
Yeah, but it is what it is. It's a tough game. Take your lumps here, take it on the chin, and then move on. Next up, Monday Night Football, we have the Browns and the Denver Broncos, and this works out perfectly because we always end the week talking about the Browns, so how fitting that they're the Monday night game. In my opinion, the Browns haven't won in Denver in a long time. For whatever reason, under Kevin Stefanski on West Coast games, the Browns do not play well. The Denver Broncos defense is no joke. Their offense, Bo Nix is making himself a pretty strong case for Rookie of the Year. We'll see if that continues against the Browns defense, who looked great. They're coming off. They're going to have 11 days rest coming into this game, so you'd almost think that they should be more than okay. But if I know anything about this Browns team, and I learned it a lot last year, their defense does not translate on the road. They'll have one really good game at home where they dominate like they did against the Steelers, and then they'll go out on the road and give up 400 yards. So I don't have any faith in this Browns team winning back-to-back games. I don't have them faith winning in Denver. I am going with the Denver Broncos to win on Monday Night Football at home.
Yep, Kyle does too.
All right.
Kyle does too.
Those are your picks for the holiday week. George, thank you for filling in for Kyle, and I appreciate it. We are going to now get to Just the Tip. I am very excited about this one. I have been patiently waiting for this special to come out for a long time, and it is Anthony Jeselnik's new special on Netflix called Bones and All. So we talked about this about a year ago. It was October of 2024. I introduced Anthony Jeselnik to Kyle, and Kyle has become a huge fan. So last year, Kyle, Jess, Tara, and myself, we all went to see Anthony Jeselnik at the Cleveland Masonic Theater, and Anthony Jeselnik came out, started his show, had some technical difficulties with the microphone. There was a storm that came through. They lost power. The microphone didn't work, but he powered through. He did the show with like a backup microphone and canceled the second show because he sold out both. So he was doing two shows. He canceled the second show, came back to Cleveland a few months later to have a makeup date at a different venue. I couldn't go because Teddy had just been born. I think he came back in March of 2024. And I couldn't go. I had a newborn. So it was cool to see him though, even though the mic wasn't working, but I was still able to hear most of the material that he used in the special. So for those of you that don't know what a comedian typically does when they're established, like a guy like Anthony Jeselnik, you start off local. So he lives in California. He goes to the Improv, he goes to the Comedy Store, things like that, works on material. Once he gets some bits that he really likes, he starts doing some bigger shows. Then he starts doing theaters, which is what he did in Cleveland. And then he does world tours, and then he films a special. And that's exactly what happened. It's a couple year-long process. He writes a whole hour, gets it down to the T, and then makes a special. And Netflix bought it, put it on there on Tuesday, yesterday. As soon as I got home from work, I watched it. 99% of the jokes that he used that he said on the special, he said in Cleveland. But seeing them in a proper setting with a microphone that works was awesome. Jeselnik is one of my favorite comedians of all time. He's definitely in my top 5. And anytime he comes out with a special, I am interested in it. I think he is fucking hilarious. His dark humor is top notch. And he's one of the best roast comedians of all time. So if you like comedy, if you're into dark comedy, dark humor, definitely check out Anthony Jeselnik if you've never heard of him before. It's very raunchy, very dirty, very politically incorrect jokes, but he does it in such a smart fashion that you're going to laugh your ass off, in my opinion. I know a lot of people don't like his cadence, the way he talks. They find it a little off-putting. I'm used to it. I know that's his style, and that's how he acts on stage. I love it. So check it out. Anthony Jeselnik, Bones and All, the new special on Netflix. As you can hear, I probably shouldn't have been talking for an hour straight because I'm sick, but I am feeling better, and I am now going to go eat some dinner and rest and watch TV and wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you guys so much. We are doing Talking About Balls. We are on year like fucking, I don't even know, 6, 5 of doing this. I love it. I couldn't be happier with doing the show. Especially shout out to George for doing this for us every week. We will talk to you guys again next week. I believe Kyle's going to be with us for the full show, if I'm not mistaken. He's just had a lot of shit going on, and then he's committed to the bowling team. He was in Vegas. They're having some family health stuff, and then tonight is obviously the biggest drinking night of the year. So it's safe to say the prices are going out. I wish I could. Any other year, I definitely would have been, but because of the baby, staying in tonight. So have one for me if you're going out. Be safe. Be smart. Be careful. It's supposed to storm, I believe, over the weekend. So I'm not a meteorologist. I don't give a fuck. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you guys again next week. Have a happy, healthy holiday, and stay safe. Cleveland, that was for you.